Welcome to Community Cuts, family of Community Cuts. My name is Ricky T. James. I am hosting today. We are live coming from Brooklyn, New York. Salon Lee, streaming live. I would like you to listen to the introductions. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Donnery Coleman.
Good evening. My name is Valerie Malcolm from Brooklyn, New York, from Crown Heights to be specific, a longtime resident, and I'm honored to be here tonight.
My name is Stephen Vincent. I'm also from Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and I'm honored to be here as well.
Today, we are speaking on respect your elders. What you've learned, what you've earned from them, and what you return back to the community or to the elders. Elders learned from giving back to them and the community from which they have all learned from. Let's start with you guys. Anybody got ideas from that question?
Well, for me, both of my parents raised me, and I would say your parents give you the blueprint to your life. They pour into you and they groom you for who you become. That's if you adhere to it. And they're the heartbeat of the family. Even if you go back in history, they always say, what was your childhood like? Who raised you? So I would say that a lot for me personally was poured into my life from my parents. So I'm here to give back everything that was poured into me, to the community, to my son, even to my workplace. I'm retired now, but when I worked, I gave it all. It comes from work ethic. Both of my parents worked. They showed me. Again, they paved the way. They gave the blueprint to my life. And I'm grateful for that.
I myself have learned fencing, horseback riding, golf, how to speak, how to walk, how to write. Before even going to school, I've learned these issues. They are all part of my community. I've learned and I use them on places like Lexington Avenue, Juilliard, high school, college. These traits exemplify what it is I've received from college, received from high school, received from Juilliard, and received from living in Brooklyn.
Just to echo on what they said, everything that you guys said was the same. But what I give back to my community from what I learned from my parents is they definitely instill schooling. And I went on to be a social worker and I give back to the community, especially now in these times. Yeah, th- that's all I can say, really. They instilled for me to be a kind person and to give back, and I couldn't have did that without them.
You gave back financially or what you've learned from them, what you earned from their teaching?
I have not given back financially, not financially, more of what I learned from them. I've given back to the community.
Well, for me, I gained morals and values. I got my moral compass from them. I got my integrity from them. I got my morals, again, values, how I run my life. They taught me all of that. To be humane in life is key. To have empathy in life, compassion, all of that was given to me from my parents. And I give that back as well. When I worked 35 years, I worked for the city of New York in social work and law enforcement. So I've given all of that back. So I can say it is done and it is well. Even here today, giving back to the community. So it's, you can't, you have to freely give back what was freely given to
Yes,
me.
yes, that's really nice.
And here we are today doing that.
Steve, I would like to know sports. Was it learned from you or from someone else older than you, or did you think it was that it was taught to you and learned just by being on court or on the field?
Well, I'm the youngest of 11 siblings, 7 from my mom. And the one thing that I can say about sports was I was engaged in sports as a child and adolescent and as young adult. And the thing that I learned from sports was discipline. And I would always encourage young people to follow sports because it teaches you discipline. It gives you a what you would say a basic fundamental sound
Background.
background, which allows you to develop mentally and physically. Um, as far as what I learned, being the youngest, most of my brothers were engaged in sports as well. My older brother played high school football, one played basketball, one was boxing, and I took something from all of them, and I learned something from all of them, as well as playing sports myself. And I think that it gave me the nucleus that I needed when it came to education and, like I said again, discipline coming up as a youth.
Respect, winning and losing, whether it's something that you did for your elders or something your elders did for you. That learned from elders states that it is something that you should always keep and learn and respect when you are in some type of situation where you have the point to lose or to win. The respect is always going to be there from your parents.
I'd like to ask someone, anyone can answer this question. Did you ever have a ill parent that you had to take care of
Currently,
currently?
yes. My mom has dementia. My mom was a fantastic, fabulous lady. Registered nurse, 30 something years. Came here from the island of Jamaica at 25 with $25 in her pocketbook. And worked various jobs, went back to school, got various degrees. And now at 80, the tables have turned and she's living with me. I'll say this, once a man, twice a child. Yep. And now I take care of mom.
I took care of my mom until she passed away. She had dementia, Alzheimer's, and she suffered from a stroke. So she was bedridden for 5 to 6 years, I think. I'm not too sure. The time flew by for me. It flew by. So she passed away. The ambulance came in and saw that she was gagging for air. I wasn't there. They just told me, and they threw her on the floor. Not threw her, but put her on the floor. to give her some strong back on her back, and she passed away on that exchange, from the bed to the floor. I came in, I saw her on the floor, I checked to see if she was living or dead, and she was gone. So my job was over.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So, I had mentioned that I was the youngest of all of my siblings, and in a lot of instances, the youngest child is the one that takes care of the parent when they're going through their latter stages in life. My mom, she struggled with diabetes, and she also struggled with kidney failure early on. I was a senior in high school when my mom's kidney started to give her problems. And she was doing self dialysis, home dialysis initially. And as the years went on, she began to do dialysis at a facility 3 times a week. And I had to pick her up and bring her home from dialysis whenever she needed to go home. And during the course of this time, she also, as I said, struggled with diabetes. So she started having issues with her extremities, like her legs. And it started with her foot. They removed half her foot. And as time went on, they removed from her knee down. And watching all of these things happen during the course of my adulthood was challenging, to say the least. But that was the position that I was in. And I held that position with pride because no matter what I was doing, and I lived my life. I went out dancing, partying, and did everything. But once I got that beep or that call, I was gone. And I was going to take care of my mom. And my mom was my rock.
Right.
You know, when I reflect on her as a person, she was a single mother. The last time I saw my father, I was 5 years old. I'm 58 now. So most of my life was just me and my mom. And I love my mom more than anything. Although I had my ups and downs with life as well as anybody else, my mom was always my rock. No matter what condition I was in, when I came in there, my mom was always there for me. And to watch her go through the challenges she went through with her health made me stronger because it made me realize how life has its challenges. So to be grateful for every day that you have your health and you're above this ground. So,
Religion and culture. Your religion and your culture. How did your elder, mom, dad, uncle, cousin, change or affect your religion, your culture, how you think about it, or how you perceive in life, even as today?
Well, for me, I went to Catholic school for 12 years. My household, my father was Episcopalian, my mother was Baptist. My father was from Jamaica, my mother was from North Carolina. They believed in a good education. They put me in Catholic school from first grade to 12th grade. Actually, that's how I met Donna in high school. So religion was always the foundation in my home. We prayed together, we ate together. Growing up in my generation, the family sat around the table and ate together. I come from a blended family of 6, and we all 6 sat there, home cooked meals, and we prayed before we ate. We kneeled down at night and prayed, Our Father. So prayer was very relevant in the household. It's relevant in my life. I am a chaplain as well. So I believe in God, I trust in God, and He is the center of my life. So they gave me that religion, that culture. No, I'm not Catholic today. However, it's one God. And a lot of people like to do separations. I'm not going to get into that. But I believe in God. But no, I'm not Catholic still, but I have my religion. And that's my base and my foundation. And that's who I look to in time of troubles. And I did experience, I've had elder parents as well. Because of my religion, it gave me strength to endure. I had my parents home on hospice with me just up to 2023. My father lived to be 95. My mother lived to be 85. I retired because of them, because of all the things they poured into me. I poured it back. And that includes religion, morals, values. They gave me the moral compass of life.
Religion and culture. The Black culture is streamed in our family. We grew from the 60s when there was riots and I Am a Man and Martin Luther King. We lived through that. We participated in that. We marched. And it affected our family culture. We looked up to them to explain to us what exactly is happening with this country or with this neighborhood we lived in. And each 70s, it was freewheeling into college and doing all kinds of things that our parents taught us, but we had to experience for ourselves. And the 80s was to reflect and what we did and what we went through, and we all survived. The 90s were a capstone where everything was, that's what you did, here is what you shall stay and be. It's reflecting on you, what you did, what you become. And on into the new century, we love the kids that we created and the kids that we assimilate with here in this country. These things, culture and religion, are powerful, and we have to grasp them and keep them in our lives. You can't turn us away at religion. We're bounded, and we keep that religion in us.
May I ask you something, guys?
Mhm.
What's the difference between the children, the kids of today, and the kids you growing up in your time? Are they respectful or are they nonchalant? Do you think that they will look in on their parents and have the same regard like you guys had as growing up?
Children, children who are raised by their parents, I'm talking about our generation,
The 60s.
the 60s, yes, they will have that instilled because we did that. We that was a part of their lives, right? However, the ones that don't have the structure of either uncle, auntie telling them, let's go to church, letting them know what's right from wrong, those children, unfortunately, no. And then we're in this age of time, okay? Everything was much slower back then. Now it's instant gratification. It's the phone. It's the computer. You understand? And without, this is why it's so important for a parent figure, whether it be an uncle or aunt, to instill these things in children, so that when they grow up, they can continue the tradition and continue the values and the respect of themselves. But unfortunately, it's too many that are just by themselves. And my heart aches.
So I have another question. What would you tell or teach the kids today? I also believe that the parents have a fiduciary obligation
Absolutely.
to pour in to the youth.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. And I can only speak for myself. I did exactly that with my child. Okay. Took her to church, taught her right from wrong, did family outings, you know, she's now a 30-year-old. I'm a new grandmother. She's married. She has her master's. She took it all the way up. She's self-sufficient, which is all I wanted. And I guess that's what my parents wanted as well. Just to be self-sufficient and grounded with God in the home. That would be my answer.
I would teach what I am teaching in church, extravagance, to avoid extravagance. It's a deadly thing. The more you get, the more you want. The more you want, the more you want to get. It's once you lose something that you have earned, sometimes you can't recover from that. You can't recover. I've seen my father, who owned an automobile garage, take a car away from someone who was just not able to make payments for that car, not able to keep it clean, the car. He took it right away and put it in the garage and let it sit there. These things, people must learn, must be sure that they're doing the right thing about the things that they purchase, about the things that they have, about the things that they believe. Too much of anything is no good for you. That was a good song.
I would tell the youth today that you have to care about something. I believe a lot of youth today don't care and value things the way we value things in my generation. Even life itself. Some youth don't value life as it relates to gun violence, stabbing, even themselves. Some of them are very disheveled. They don't care about their appearance. So again, you have to care about something. And love, as we know, is the number one thing. If you have that in your heart, and that's one thing that's instilled, in me, in my culture, all of that was instilled. Love, values, care about something. If you don't care about something, it's just whatever. And a lot of kids say they don't care, they don't care. I worked with juveniles for many, many years in the Department of Probation. And when they don't care about something, anything can happen.
Yep.
So you have to hold on to some care, some hope, some faith.
I think when you reflect on where we are as a community, there are so many intricate reasons why things are not the way they were when we came up. We had childhoods. We had the ability to play sports together. We played games like skelly and stickball and basketball, and we had respect for our neighbors.
Yes.
Like my neighbor could tell me, Steve, stop that. And I wouldn't turn around and cuss her out. I'd be like, Miss Anderson, no problem, I'm gonna stop. Because it takes a village to raise a child.
That's right.
Those aspects have declined dramatically over the course of time for various reasons. The programs that we had when we came up, summer youth programs and the PAL and the locations where we could go and play sports, those things are not the way they were when we came up. And then unfortunately we had the crack epidemic, which affected our children emphatically. It changed everything when it came to the neighborhood. People were afraid. You don't even know your neighbors now.
Right.
There was a time you lived in a building, you know who everybody was, and then every apartment. Now you don't even know who your neighbor is because people are afraid to open up and get to know who's around them now. Social media plays a major role with that as well. Like Donna or Val said, kids are more involved in the computers and what they see on their phones than it is to go out and play with their friends. Things have changed, times have changed.
I would also say what he just said about the crack epidemic, that definitely made a big generation gap in many people's lives, especially in the dark community, you know what I mean? Because that's what the government wanted to do, wanted to poison our community. Because because they saw us actually getting better, and then they wanted to separate. We don't understand that. Here's the thing that I would say: we need more. See, a lot of people, like when it comes to energy, like he said, a lot of different stuff like stickball, gymnastics stuff. We don't have a lot of that because they cut a lot of programs, right?
Mhm.
But they keep it in more rich neighborhoods and stuff like that. And a lot of the things that we don't have, and one of the things that I would say, and it's going to sound way off, is salt water. And a lot of salt water, what that does is, kids can learn how to swim, you know what I mean, in a pool full of salt water, plus their energy will go down once they finish. So basically what happens is once they come out of the water, they take a shower and they're tired. Because, you know what I mean? If they're not tired of something,
Just
and
like
the
the
energy is still up, a lot of
Yes.
things can happen, right?
Yes.
But if the energy is lower, their focus becomes a little bit clearer. Not necessarily sleepy, but at a point where they can now focus better. Because I had HD?
ADHD.
Yeah, supposedly, right?
Mhm,
They want to
mhm.
put you on Ritalin, but why do that when they could just take you to the beach every day
Right.
and swim?
There you go.
Natural, you know what I mean? So anyway, stuff like that.
And you know what? To add on to that, sir, as we talk about culture, my father's Jamaican. That was part of our culture, going to the beach
Yep.
every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
And even
In
on
Jamaica.
the island of Jamaica, you want to go soak in the salt water.
Yep.
That was part of the culture, the tradition. They said it had a lot of minerals in it.
And you are right, sir. By the time you come home from the beach,
Yeah.
You're tired.
Yes.
On the train coming back, you sleep.
Train, the car, right there on the sand, you're tired from the waves. And that's exercise. And that was a family gathering. That was a cultural event. And Donna and I, we continued it with our kids later on, once we had our children. So we try to still instill what was given to us to our children so that they can have it.
we wrap it up. Oh, keep on. What else can I say? Yeah. I had such a fun childhood. It was so much
I know what you're talking
fun.
about.
It really was. I mean, I did not miss anything. I was raised in Jamaica. Okay, came here when I was 9. And being in Jamaica, and then I went back again at 15. No. I'm sorry. It's the opposite. I came back here at 15. I was in Jamaica. But in Jamaica, oh my goodness, TV didn't sign on until 5 o'clock. Okay. So us as kids, all we had was our imagination. We would make up things. We would go exploring. We would believe we're $6 million man. You know what I mean? These kids don't have that anymore.
You know what's interesting to me is that back in the days, we would never put away our parents.
Right.
No.
That was a no.
Absolutely. I was raised with
Deal
my
with it.
grandmother.
Deal with
So
it.
my father had his mother. Again, part of the culture. My grandmother was here. She even lived to be 91. So, as a child, you're growing up, you don't realize your parents is growing as you growing.
Yep.
And you don't realize until it's later on in life, you're like, oh my gosh, these big, strong people that gave me everything that they had. They gave me the direction in life. Some people may call their parents superheroes.
Yep.
Because that's what we knew. We looked up to them, especially if the father was in the home, and mine was. So I looked up to my dad. So with all of that, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, everyone, where I was going with it. But putting away parents. No, that was not an option for me.
No.
Not at all. Again, I was going to say one moment,
That
Donna. Let me
destroys the
finish this.
family.
Let me
Destroys
finish
the
this thought.
family.
My father took care of his mother. It was no nursing home. So I did the same. It wasn't a second thought about it. Just like elementary school, high school, college. These weren't second thoughts. It's family first. You take care of your family. If you can't do it alone, you seek help. So again, I did that. I gave them all of that back till they were home on real hospice with me. Till I sacrificed my life for them because they gave it to me. So for me, it was not an option of a nursing home, and I had two parents. It wasn't one. And like Steve, I was the youngest of 6 children, and it was all on me. But I thank God I'm here today to say it. Everybody's dead and gone of 6 children. It's only 2 left. And I'm the only one here in New York, the youngest one. And I have no regrets. It was an honor to see both of my parents go back to Pampers, where I had to change.
Once a man, twice a child.
Just like the host here, my mother became bedridden and she could not walk. It became a thing. And when your parents get older, again, both of them were in their right state of mind, 95 and 85 to the day they died. However, sometimes you experience some aggression from them, some fight back from them. It can be a blessing and a curse because it's not always nice.
No.
They are very feisty because they are your parent.
Correct.
And they're going to let you know that.
Mhm.
But you running the ship now.
They want to show you. They always want to show you how to do these things that you're doing.
So
How to put
again,
on a diaper. Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
and want to correct you in some things. But again, you have to be patient with them. That's why, as Steve said, it made him stronger taking care of his mother. Because it really shows you what you are made of. Because there's so many emotions that go on while you're dealing with your parents in their golden years.
I'm so glad she said that. See, for me, you know what I mean? It's not the same as other people, like how when you say respect your parents and all that. For me, like, I respect my mother, you know what I mean? But me and my mother do not get along, like, at all. And I barely talk to her, right? But whenever she needs me, I'm going to be there. You know what I
Amen.
mean? Because
Amen.
she raised me through the crack era. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Well,
What
that's
I say
Amen.
is one, right?
Amen.
So,
Everybody
my
has
father is. Can I curse? Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Sorry.
It's all right. We in Brooklyn.
Yeah. But then, as I was growing up, because I'm also in the club scene, and being in the club scene, you learn a lot. I've been in there since I was 21, I'm 43, and, dancing and all that. And I started noticing that, there are people in these scenes that shouldn't be parents at all. Like, they're kids. I mean, like, I've had I had a friend who they're both together, they had a kid, and they never brought their kid into school. Their kid is 12 years old, can't read,
No.
and they're homeschooling them, and they're not even good at teaching. So it's like their kid is all gonna be messed up by the time the kid's 21. Now they're gonna get the GED. So this, when I was little, I used to think, it was always like mothers that were like the best, but then I started noticing that both sides can be just as equally bad. And then when you hear, and I have to say is when you hear people telling that little kid, hey, respect your parents, it's like, what are you really respecting? And them are not really giving you what you should be giving. So it's a 20/20 catch on that. It depends on the household. It's kind of what she said too.
We have social workers here. I would like to know their opinion about that.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get what he was.
The parents don't teach the child to read, write, how to act.
Well, if they're not teaching them how to read and write, that's against the law. Okay, let's start there. Okay, that is against the law. But yeah, absolutely.
Well,
It's called neglect.
Yes, it is. And I did work for ACS, Administration for Children's Services.
Me too.
Part of my career. So she's
Oh, you
correct.
work
It
for
is against
ACS?
the. Okay, so we,
Benefit. Bedford
Oh,
Avenue.
okay.
Me too,
That's him.
1274
That's her.
Bedford
Yeah,
Avenue,
I remember you.
back in the 80s. So it is against the law. But I can even go deeper, maybe why, if you want to dive into the psyche. You can't give what wasn't given to you.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Get it right
If
there.
it wasn't given
If
to
I
you,
don't know,
how
how am
you
I
gonna
going to give
give
it
it
to
back?
someone else? Exactly. And that's why we're able to raise our children based on what our parents taught us and vice versa.
Mhm.
Their parents taught them, they followed the tradition
Right,
and passed it down. It's
absolutely,
super important.
right.
Super important.
Somebody asked, we're being watched live and asked about calling the police as would a parent call the police on their own child?
They would, depends on the circumstance.
Right.
If it's warranted. We've seen parents turn their own kids into the police.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you know you're sitting there watching something and they're saying, they showed a picture of little Johnny, and little Johnny is in the room and they just said, little Johnny just stuck up an old woman, you're gonna tell little Johnny he's gonna go down and turn himself in.
Yes.
So yes,
Well, it's also the flip side, again, morals and values. You
absolutely.
have people who would not.
True.
They are going to let their daughter be on the run now.
Mm,
Let me ask you this,
Not
there's
good.
another question online right now. Is it exhausting being a caretaker?
Absolutely. They are underrated.
I never thought of it that way. I thought it was like a session with my mom. A session. Today we're going to learn how to wash our face.
mm,
Today we're going to learn how to get up in the evening and go to the bathroom and not fall down. It was a session every single day. I didn't work at that period for the 3 years. I held work for away from me for a while. And we worked it out. We
mm.
worked it out.
Well, you gained your coping mechanism. That's
Well,
the
Right.
way you
I
did
just
it.
want to kind of add on before you go any further with that. It's exhausting mentally, yeah.
Yes.
But if I had to do it over again, I would do it the
Yes,
same way.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hands
Because
down.
I love my moms more than anything.
Absolutely.
These two young ladies sitting next to me have been friends of mine for over 40 years.
Yes, we
I
have.
met Donna when I was a freshman in college, and we've known each other and been close friends ever since. And they can each tell you that there have been numerous occasions that we could be in so many different places, and I would get a call or get a beep. I was gone.
Yes, he was.
I was gone. Oh, I gotta go.
Yes. And we were young.
And we was young. That's right.
We were young.
Throughout our young age, until my mom passed, I was gone because my mom was my rock. She meant everything to me. I wouldn't be the man that I am today if it wasn't for her. And I could never lose sight of that. And I never lost sight of that. So yeah, it was exhausting at times. But like I said, if I had to do it over again, I would do it the same way.
Absolutely. I echo that.
Mhm.
It was very exhausting, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
Mhm.
It was very exhausting. Again, I got a lot of pushback from my parents. Yeah, I had to protect my health as
Sanity.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, backaches, everything.
Back to the days when they had an individual who would come into your home to show you how to take care of your mother, how to give her exercise routine when she
Okay.
don't want to do it,
Right.
Mhm,
Right.
how to lift her leg up,
mhm.
how to stretch, make her stretch, how to get her up in the morning. I got tired of that. That's who gave me the most exhaustion. Those people that are from the city or wherever they were from. I don't know, hospitals. I don't know where they were from. I always told them, not today, not today. I told them to come back another day.
Yeah. I just want to say one
Yeah, I
thing.
think he's talking physical therapy too.
Physical, yeah, all of
Yes,
them, all
that's
of
what
them.
he
They were
was.
just a pain.
Well, I welcomed it. I welcomed every bit of help, every little strength.
Can I just
So everyone is different. Yes.
Can I
Donna.
just say one thing? we all sat here and said, you know, oh, we didn't put our parents in a nursing home. That's not to say if my parent requires, I can't do it anymore, right? Or she now becomes a danger to herself and us.
Mhm.
I have to do it. I have to put her in a nursing home.
Because
So
you're
I
not
don't want you,
equipped.
I don't
Right.
want outside there to believe that it's wrong or it's
Right.
bad,
Right.
okay, or you're a bad child
Right.
for putting your parent in a nursing home if it becomes unbearable for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to put that out there.
It might
Great
be a
point.
best choice. It all depends.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it might be the better choice. It all depends.
And
My
how,
mom
how,
spent
how
some
much
time
they
in the nursing home.
deteriorate too,
Right.
you know, with their ailment.
Right.
So yeah.
Great point.
Yeah, somebody mentioned about the children calling the police on their parents.
Do that too.
But
If
for
they're
what
in there, if
reason?
they're right.
Why would you call? That's very vague. Why would the children call the police on their parents as far as saying parents are abusing their
Right.
children?
Call-
I need a little more clarity on that question.
Well, it also is in the same field as discipline. They need to be disciplined, and
The child or the parent?
Right.
well, I'm thinking about the child.
Okay.
That needs to be disciplined, and sometimes kids today in this contemporary time are not used to hearing getting disciplined.